Before Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, or Apple Music, we had physical media like vinyls, CDs, DVDs, VHS, Laserdisc, and many more. Physical media such as DVDs revolutionized how we accessed media. But before we can talk about these, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. The phonograph was the first machine that could record any audio. It was invented by the French inventor Leon Scott in 1855. It consisted of a cone-shaped speaking horn with a flexible covering on the small end. A sharp point was attached to the flexible diaphragm and it touched the surface of a piece of paper. The paper was covered with a thin layer of black soot, and if it were moved beneath the stylus as someone shouted down the horn, the resulting vibration of the diaphragm would be captured as a squiggly line on the soot of the paper. The phonograph was able to record audio, but not play it back. This is what inspired Thomas Edison's phonograph. The original phonograph, made in the late 1870s, was intended to be a telephone recorder. Edison thought that sound recording would be popular in business, just as the telephone was popular in business. The machine worked by using sound vibrations to move a stylus, which etched a spiral groove into a rotating cylinder that was originally tinfoil and eventually changed to wax. It captures the sound mechanically. When played back, the stylus traced back the grooves. This caused the vibrations to be amplified through a horn, reproducing the sound. The first recording on the phonograph was Mary Had a Little Lamb, and here it is.
The first words I spoke in the original phonograph. A little piece of practical poetry. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
With the phonograph, you could now physically hold sound. It was the first machine that allowed you to save audio and store it so you could listen to it later. Sound became an experience. It became an object. The issue was, it couldn't be mass-produced. That was until Emil Berliner's gramophone, released in 1887. Instead of using wax cylinders, it used a disc format instead. These discs were coated with a thin layer of beeswax, and a stylus would carve the sound vibrations into it as fine grooves. Those grooves were then etched into the metal surface with acid, creating a permanent record. To play it back, a steel stylus traced the grooves on a turntable, vibrating in the same pattern as the original sound and reproducing it through a diaphragm. Once recorded, these discs could be used as a template to mass-produce the audio on them. Both the phonograph and the gramophone needed to be wound up to be able to use, since it didn't require any electricity at all, as shown here. Sound was now able to be stored, but soon after, people were able to store sights, able to store what you could see. It allowed people to save the movement of people. Eastman Kodak's paper-based film made it possible to capture images cheaply and repeatedly. When those images were taken in rapid succession, they could be played back as motion. Essentially, it was a form of stop motion. The first video captured was 4 people walking and dancing in a garden for about 2 seconds. As you heard in the video, or didn't hear in the video, there was no audio, since it was just multiple photos in rapid succession, making you assume there was video. But since there was no audio, you didn't hear anything. While trying to record video and audio, we also tried to recreate it. We tried to make fictional versions of it known as animation. We started with the zoetrope. This device, coming out in 1834, was invented by the mathematician William George Horner. This allowed people to watch looped animating things. Most notably, people could watch horses running. It used photos and drawings, and when it spun, you were able to watch it as if it was a video. Eventually, this led to the invention of the praxinoscope in 1877. It essentially was an improved zoetrope. It replaces slits with a central circle of mirrors for cleaner, brighter, and less distorted pictures. When it was spun, the mirrors reflected sequential images from an inner strip, making them appear as one continuous animation. The only issue with the praxinoscope and the zoetrope is that they couldn't be watched collectively. It was a one-at-a-time experience. Even though the praxinoscope improved the zoetrope, the optical theater made by Charles Emile Renaud in 1888 came in and made it even better. He introduced the idea of watching animation as a shared experience. By painting images onto glass plates assembled in a lengthy band, Renaud could project animated sequences onto a large screen in real time. To make the illusion possible, he manipulated the glass plates with a specially built projector. As you could assume, timing and precision were crucial, since each hand-painted image had to align perfectly to create a smooth motion. Often, these animations were accompanied by live music or narration, adding another layer of engagement for viewers. It wasn't just a video, it was motion that had audio. The animation itself didn't have sound. It was added by people performing live. Soon after, Thomas Edison's kinetograph was invented in 1891, causing a small rise in silent films. Eventually, the cinematograph came out in 1892, which also helped create a surge in silent films. With the turn of the century, around 1910, Bell and Howell cameras became popular. These cameras made motion pictures practical rather than experimental. Film stopped being a novelty and became a repeatable process. These films could be broadcasted without any sound from the motion pictures. It often required a live performance like piano, orchestra, or band to provide the audio and sound effects needed to get the whole picture of the film. Piano music, such as this, was used in silent films. Dance! Not to get sidetracked, but the most famous silent film actor was Charlie Chaplin, and here's a clip from his movie. Now, moving on. If you ask someone what the oldest form of physical media was, they'd probably say VHS, Laserdisc, or records. Even though they are old, they're not the oldest. Before all that, we had the Betamax that came out in 1975, and before that, we had the U-Matic that came out in 1971. A lot of companies tried to create their own form of physical media, and there was a lot of it. Yeah, tons of it. It is now time to enter the rabbit hole. The first format of physical media was photographic film, specifically film stock. Film stock is recorded on by a movie camera, developed, edited, and projected onto a screen using a movie projector. Photographic film is a transparent strip coated with light-sensitive material. Light exposure creates an image that's revealed through chemical development. Movie film usually records a negative that's printed for projection. While color film uses multiple layers to capture different colors, the result is a physical object that stores images frame by frame. In 1956, almost 40 years after film stock, Ampex introduced 2-inch quadruplex videotape, the first widely successful video recording format. Using magnetic tape, it allowed television broadcasts to be recorded, stored, and replayed with far greater flexibility. The system used spinning magnetic heads to record video in small segments that were reassembled during playback. Audio and control signals ran along the tape's edges, creating a physical format. Eventually, like all things, a new format came along called U-Matic. The U-Matic were videotapes developed by Sony, first released in 1971. They stored magnetic tape inside a cassette using a U-shaped path around a spinning head drum to record and play audio. Sony originally aimed U-Matic at home users, but high costs pushed it into television, education, and business, where it helped pave the way for later formats like Betamax. Like U-Matic, Sony also created Betamax, a home video cassette format released in 1975. It used half-inch magnetic tape in a compact cassette and recorded video with a helical scan system, wrapping the tape around a spinning head for better image quality. Betamax was known for its sharp picture, though early tapes only recorded about 1 hour, later extended by lowering resolution. It also evolved into professional formats like Betacam, but production ended in 2002, with blank tapes sold until 2016. Even though Sony made the U-Matic and Betamax, Sony wasn't the only company creating video formats. In 1976, Bosch Furnish in Germany developed the 1-inch Type B helical scan tape. This reel-to-reel format used 1-inch wide magnetic tape and recorded video with a helical scan system, wrapping the tape diagonally around the head for a high-quality playback. Type B became the broadcasting standard in continental Europe, with up to 2 hours per reel, though it was less popular in the US and UK, where other formats dominated. Releasing the same year as Type B, the 1-inch Type C helical scan tape became a major standard in professional video and broadcast television. The reel-to-reel format used 1-inch wide magnetic tape and recorded video with a helical scan system, replacing the older 2-inch quadruplex tapes and the earlier Type A format. Type C was widely adopted in television production, and in Europe it often supplemented the Type B format to provide broadcasters with more flexibility and longer recording times. VHS, or Video Home System, also came out in 1976 as a consumer-friendly videotape format developed by JVC. Using half-inch magnetic tape in a compact cassette, VHS also allowed people to record shows directly from their TV and play them at any time. The tapes typically held at least 2 hours of video, making them perfect for movies and home recordings. VHS quickly became the dominant home video format. Soon after, the Laserdisc came out. The Laserdisc, coming out in 1978, was the first commercial optic disc created by Philips, Pioneer, and the movie studio MCA. They were roughly 12 inches in diameter and basically the size of a vinyl record. Unlike VHS, it didn't have the ability to record things from your TV. Instead, it offered a better sound quality and sharper visuals. Not only did it give better visuals and audio, it also included bonus features like director's commentary and behind-the-scenes footage. This was something VHS couldn't offer at all. Laserdisc also had to be flipped halfway through certain movies because each side could only hold so much data and information. After 3 years, in 1981, another format tried to take over, the capacitance electronic disc, CED. Developed by RCA, also called Selectavision, it was a video disc system that played video and audio on a TV using a stylus on a grooved disc, similar to a record. Each side of a CED held about 60 minutes of video, but despite its technical achievements, poor planning and delays meant it already was outdated by the time it came out. It struggled against VHS, Betamax, and Laserdisc, and RCA eventually discontinued players in 1984 and discs in 1986, losing hundreds of millions of dollars. In 1984, the 8mm video format was introduced, including Video 8, HI8, and Digital 8. These compact video cassettes used helical scan magnetic tape and were mainly popular with consumer camcorder users, though they also saw some professional use. Video 8 could record up to 120 to 150 minutes, depending on the system and format, while later, Digital 8 offered shorter but higher quality digital recordings. Its small size and portability, especially with cameras like Sony's Handycam, made 8mm a hit, for a home, movie, and personal video. In 1987, JVC introduced Super VHS, SVHS, an improved version of the VHS format using the same cassette size but higher quality tape. SVHS increased image resolution to about 400 horizontal lines compared to VHS's 240 for sharper, cleaner video. SVHS decks could play standard VHS tapes, but standard VHS players couldn't play SVHS tapes. The format never caught on widely for consumers due to higher cost and limited pre-recorded content, though it found use in professional and educational video production, surveillance, and broadcasting. In 1992, Sony introduced the Minidisc, MD, a small magneto-optic disc for digital audio storage. Using ATRAC compression, many discs held 60 to 80 minutes of music and were rewritable, making them more flexible than cassette tapes. Mini discs were especially popular in Japan and saw moderate success in Europe, but they never fully replaced cassettes worldwide. Sony discontinued mini disc players in 2013 and announced the end of recordable MD media in 2025. In 1995, a group of manufacturers led by Sony and Panasonic introduced DV, digital video, a family of digital video formats for camcorders. Using small magnetic tapes like mini DV, DV recorded high-quality digital video and uncompressed 16-bit audio, offering much sharper footage than analog formats like Video 8 or VHS. DV became popular for home movies and professional video, helping drive the shift from analog to digital video production. Later, HDV extended the format to high definition, but by the 2000s, DV tapes were largely replaced by memory cards and solid-state storage. DVDs were released next in 1997, but I'll talk about them later. In 2001, Sony introduced MicroMV, a tiny digital video cassette about 70% smaller than Mini DV, roughly the size of 2 quarters. It used a helical scan tape system with MR read heads and could store up to 60 minutes of video, making it ideal for compact home camcorders. Now, we're moving away from video physical media into audio physical media. One of the earliest ways to store music was the piano roll, first used commercially in the late 1800s. Piano rolls were long strips of paper with holes punched into them, where each hole represented a musical note. As the roll moved across a tracker bar, the holes triggered keys on a player piano, letting it perform music automatically. Wait, piano? Music? Oh, right! Cue the piano roll. Moving on from piano rolls, sound recording took a big leap with wire recording, the first magnetic audio storage system, invented in 1898 by Vladimir Poulsen and sold commercially in 1903 as the telegraphone. It captured audio by magnetizing a thin steel wire as it passed a recording head. Playing it back reversed the process, turning those magnetic patterns into sound again. Unlike earlier physical media, this one claimed to be indestructible. The indestructible cylinder record, produced from 1907 to 1922, was designed to be more durable than earlier wax cylinders. Instead of wax, it used celluloid, a tough early plastic modeled around a cardboard core reinforced with metal rings to prevent cracking. The sound was stored in grooves on the surface, which a phonograph stylus traced to reproduce audio. Originally made in 2-minute formats, a 4-minute version was introduced in 1909, using finer grooves. Production ended in 1922 after a factory fire, but many of these cylinders have survived due to their strong construction. After the innovations of the indestructible cylinders, another approach to durable audio media emerged in 1930 with Filmophone flexible records. Unlike brittle shellac discs, these were made from flexible cellulose, allowing them to bend without shattering. The records were 10 inches in diameter, double-sided, and designed for playback at 78 RPM, much like standard gramophone records. Although they were quick and inexpensive to produce, the material was delicate, and each record could only be played about a dozen times before wearing out. Filmophone released nearly 400 titles between 1931 and 1932, but very few of those discs have survived the damage caused over time. Eventually, physical media became easier to carry around. The Miniphone, developed in 1948 by German engineer Willy Draheim, was a compact recorder that evolved from wire-based models with vacuum tubes to transistor-based tape cassettes. Recording times ranged from 12 minutes to 5 hours, and its small size allowed professional and intelligent uses with accessories like disguised microphones. Production ran from 1951 to 1967, making it a key step in portable magnetic recording. A few years later, in 1958, the RCA tape cartridge was introduced to provide stereo quarter-inch reel-to-reel quality in a compact, consumer-friendly format. Each cartridge offered 30 minutes of recording per side and was designed for home audio use. Measuring 5 x 7, 125 x 0.5 inches, it allowed easier playback and storage compared with reel-to-reel tape. The format was produced until 1964, representing an important step in bringing high-quality magnetic recording into the home. Following earlier consumer tape formats, the Sanyo MicroPack 35 was introduced in 1964 as a portable magnetic audio recorder. It used a unique cartridge with tape reels stacked atop each other and recorded analog audio via magnetic head. The device was designed for home playback and was later sold under other brands, including the Channel Master 6546 and Westinghouse H29R1, marking another step in making compact portable tape recording widely accessible. As portable tapes evolved, the DC International Cassette was introduced in 1965 by Grundig as a magnetic audio cassette with 2 reels and analog 4-track recording. It was designed for international use, supported by multiple companies with compatible recorders and blank cassettes. Despite its capabilities, DC International failed to compete with Philips compact cassette and was discontinued in 1967. In 1966, the plate tape system was introduced by Frank Staton as a portable 1/8 inch magnetic tape cartridge for mono or stereo playback. Designed as a 2-track continuous tape, It competed with existing 4-track cartridge formats and offered 8 to 24 minutes of audio per program. Its small size and portability made it popular quickly, and by 1968, over 3,000 artists had released recordings in the play tape format. In 1969, Olympus introduced the microcassette, a compact analog audio cassette significantly smaller than the standard compact cassette, using the same tape width but thinner tape and slower speeds. Microcassettes could offer recording times comparable to full-sized cassettes while occupying roughly 1/4 of the space, primarily used for dictation and audio storage. About 7 years later, in 1976, L-Cassette was introduced as a high-fidelity analog audio cassette jointly developed by Sony, Panasonic, and TEC. Larger than the compact cassettes, it offered 30 to 45 minutes of recording per side and was designed for superior audio quality and home or professional audio storage. Now that you know the history of physical media, even though I haven't explained every format of physical media like CDs and DVDs, you should know that streaming is trying to remove this all. Streaming and digital media are trying to overcome physical media and become the one and only way to access your media by using Spotify, Apple Music, Disney Plus, and Netflix, and many more different platforms. Even though many people have moved to streaming, I have multiple reasons why we should move back to physical media. In 1996, DVD video was introduced as a digital optical disc format for storing video. First released in Japan on October 19, 1996, and in the United States on March 24, 1997, using MPEG-2 compressed video and multi-channel audio. DVDs typically operated at data rates between 3 and 9.5 megabits per second and could store up to 8.5 gigabytes, allowing roughly 4 hours of video. Throughout the 2000s, DVD video became the dominant home video format worldwide, requiring a DVD drive and MPEG-2 decoder for playback. Most people have stepped away from DVDs and have moved to streaming because of the bigger catalog of movies, and it's more easily accessible in modern day, with it being on their TVs, can be on their phones, their computers, whatever devices they're using, and it's easier. But let me tell you, DVDs are still superior in every way. Well, not every way, but let me explain what I'm trying to say. Some people assume that DVDs are more expensive than streaming, since the ones they've seen at Walmart cost $25 just for one disc, and roughly $75 for a whole show. Which, yes, that is true, but you can find cheaper versions of them at any thrift store, like Goodwill, and they can cost roughly $2 to $3, and anything cheaper than that, which is a lot less expensive than a whole streaming service, which costs $15 per month, which is $180 a year. And that's only to access the movies. You don't even have to use the streaming service to have it. You just could have access to it, watch one movie a year, and that's it. And you're wasting $180 just for that. Which with DVDs, you have the movie, and that's it. You don't have to spend $180 a year for just that one movie. You just have the movie. Not only does it cost less and it's more reliable, you also get extra features that some streaming services don't provide, like bonus features, behind the scenes, director's commentary, bloopers, and anything else. Like, that is just good on its own. Like, you should just have access to that no matter where you get the movie. You might get an extra scene that was removed from the full-on movie. Or you might get something that's a blooper that's really funny and you might laugh. It's literally good. not really sure why not all streaming services provide that. Like, it's a really good thing that should be more accepted into streaming. But what can I say? I don't own any streaming services. Even with these pros said, there's still some cons. Like, most notably, the DVD scratch thing, where the side gets scratched and you're not able to watch the movie at all. Like, it'll pause, it'll skip through some scenes, and it's just not usable as much as it used to be. And that's really big con. Another con is DVDs take up space. Unlike streaming, where it's done digitally and online, and everything's stored on the cloud, DVDs take up space in their cases, and they have to be stored in boxes or shelves. And you're going to have tons of those with all your DVDs and shows you're going to buy over the years. So, that's another con. Not only do you have to buy new shelves for your DVDs you're going to buy, it's also more inconvenient for you. You're more likely to watch DVDs just when you're at home. But when you're on a road trip or on a plane ride, you might want to bring some DVDs to watch. But that's pretty difficult because you're going to have to decide from all the movies you own and pick a few of them just to bring with you, which is a hard decision. But with streaming, it's all on your phone or your computer or whatever, and you can watch all the movies you have access to, which is more convenient for you. So maybe you're on a plane ride and you want to watch a specific movie, but oops, you forgot it at home. That sucks for you. Now, moving on. DVDs are better than streaming, and I just explained why. And I'm not the only one that believes this. There are multiple people online that believe that this is true as well. Here are some examples.
I'm going back to DVDs. I'm done with streaming services. I'm done for paying for a streaming service and then having to pay for specific movies on the streaming service. Are you telling me that I have to rent Jim Carrey's The Grinch in December? Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna gate the movies that we want to watch in the months that we want to watch them, even though I'm already paying for that fucking service? I'm going back to DVDs. I'm gonna go back to VHS and DVDs because I pay for those one time and I never have to buy them again.
Why do I collect physical media instead of saving the space and just streaming everything? To put it simply, it's because this is better. Not a single one of the movies on this shelf is ever going to be leaving Netflix soon. And those movies that were hard to find on a streaming service were just right here on my shelf the whole time. And I can already hear you. I know, collecting physical media is a bit pricey. But you've been giving major streaming platforms hundreds of dollars every single year just to use their stuff. So why not invest hundreds of dollars each year into growing your personal collection? Now, this isn't every movie that we have, but this collection's been growing for over 13 years. My journey into collecting was pretty simple. My parents were both collectors as well, so naturally, I grew up to be one. And it started out pretty simple. There were movies that I liked, and I just wanted to own them so I could watch them. And it is now a physical representation of my distaste for streaming services and their greedy practices. They don't like movies, they like money. They don't like TV shows, they like money. They don't like art, they like money. They don't care about their users, only growing their users because they like money. They increase their prices every single year because they like money. I buy this stuff because I like my money that I'm spending to actually get me something. And that something is a tangible and physical object. I don't like owning an agreement between me and a giant corporation. But at the end of the day, plain and simple, I collect for me. I collect for that little kid who loved going to the video store and picking out a new movie rental every once in a while. But I hope that clears a few things up. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Watching these free videos, it made me realize that there's one thing streaming will never be able to achieve. And this is something to do with your Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi goes out, so does your streaming. You won't be able to use your streaming without Wi-Fi. And that's why DVDs are better. You can use them anytime, anywhere, without Wi-Fi necessary. The compact disc, or CD, was co-developed by Philips and Sony and first released in Japan in October 1982, followed by North America and Europe in March 1983. It stored digital audio using a laser to read data from an optical disc, typically holding 74 to 80 minutes of audio, up to 700 megabytes of data. By 1991, CDs had surpassed cassette tapes and vinyl records in U.S. sales, and by 2000s, they made up 92.3% of the U.S. music market. Later, versions like CD-ROM, CDR, and CDRW expanded its use beyond music into computer data, storage, and multimedia. People assume that only Netflix, Disney Plus, and those type of streaming platforms are increasing their prices, but Spotify and Apple Music are increasing their prices. Just like DVDs, CDs can get scratched, making them unusable, and this can be prevented by using careful handling with the discs. Unlike DVDs, where most movies get their own discs, not all artists put their music on CDs, which makes it harder to get their music on CDs. This is why burning has become an option by making custom discs. Not only can you make custom DVDs, but you can also make custom CDs, as shown here.
Every single CD burning tutorial I see on this app is so unnecessarily complicated. So here's how you make your own CD in 3 steps. Only 3! Here's what you'll need. Some blank CDs, an empty case, a disk drive, and an adapter if you need it. First step, make your playlist with all the songs that you want to use. Now the actual playlist does not matter at all, because all we need is just the names of the songs. So you can just write it down or type it out, but the only reason I do it on Spotify is so I can see the track length. Because CDs have a limit, you want to check what yours is. Mine says 80 minutes, so that's the max, but I'm just gonna do like a 1-hour playlist. Our second step is converting all of the songs to MP3. My favorite website is CNV MP3 because it's made by someone on Reddit and it has no ads. So copy the link of your YouTube video, paste it into the converter, convert to MP3. When we open this file, it's gonna automatically start playing in the music app. Hold on. It'll start playing as an MP3 in the music app. New playlist. And these are where our songs are going to go. And now repeat this process with every single song. Find the song, copy the link, paste, convert, and then add to the playlist. It's so loud, but there it is. If you're using the CD in your car, then the titles are gonna display so you can edit those so it doesn't say like official audio. But I don't know how to drive, so I don't have to worry about that. Plugging in the adapter and then the drive as well. Now step 3, the only thing you have to do, place your CD into the drive. It starts like buzzing a little bit. Now I am going up to File, and then burn playlist to disk. You can choose if you want spaces in between the songs, but I don't. Then also if it'll show up with the text. And burn. I've seen people on this app talking about it takes 45 minutes for the playlist to burn. This should only take like 10 minutes, maybe even 5 or 4. Literally that was like 5 minutes, not even 10. Now with any CD, we need to decorate it. This mixtape is all of my favorite songs, and so of course I had to make a very orange-tastic cover. And it's that easy. I hope you decide to make your own. They are so fun.
So, if your favorite artist ever leaves Spotify, you have a backup plan by using CDs. The longer I spend online, the more videos I find of people agreeing that physical media is better than streaming. And here's one person.
You don't own anything. If an artist decides to pull out of Spotify, you can't listen to them, like, ever again. Not to mention, like, Xbox, their Game Pass as well. You don't own any of those. That's why I spent a small fortune on a lot of discs. I own all of these. If the internet goes out, I still have it. All on my computer, I have them all. And if the power goes out, I got backup. Streaming services, they suck. Buy DVDs. If the power goes out, I got backup. What is it, $60 for a remaster? No, I have all. I have it all. Power goes out? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I have it.
I could continue arguing why physical media like DVDs are better than streaming, and why you should collect CDs, DVDs, and maybe even VHS if you're risky. But I'm going to end it here and let you decide on your own. Is it worth it? Maybe. Or is it not worth it? Maybe. But that's up to you and your opinion.